What's up, everybody? Joe White here. And, man, they called it the penultimate episode of Raw. And for those who don't know what that means, usually with a television show, the second to last episode of the season before is usually where all the big storylines converge and everything starts popping off real big time. There's no filler. And, you know, it's usually where everything starts coming together right before the big finale. Um, The Walking Dead, prime example. The penultimate episode of every season was usually the best episode of the season because that's where all the good stuff happens. I mean, not to say that good stuff didn't happen in the season finale, but the penultimate episode is where all the really crazy, it starts getting crazy. And last night it got crazy. Man, it got crazy. Did last night felt like the go home show. I even texted AC and Hollywood Edwards, and I was like, man, is it just me or did this feel like the go home show? And Edwards even replied back to me and texted me back saying, yeah, man, and they got they got three more shows left. They got Friday SmackDown, and then they got Monday's Raw, and then they got next Friday SmackDown there in Philly. Um, I don't look for that SmackDown to be really anything special because everybody's going to be saving their best stuff for WrestleMania. You're in town for the big event, so I look for the Monday after WrestleMania this year. Last year we got that horrible Raw after Mania where crazy Vince came back and or he must who not he who shall not be named came back after we learned last night we can't say his name anymore. He's now the Voldemort of wrestling. He who shall not be named. Um, so he who shall not be named came back, and because we do not speak his name. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you know we dare not say his name. He did terrible things, great things, but he did terrible things, great but terrible things. Vince McMahon is now Voldemort. That's one thing we've learned about Monday Night Raw or WWE in general. Vince McMahon is now Voldemort. So, and if he ever shows his face again, he's back. So, he's been cast out once, and then he got brung back. He's back, and then now he's gone again for good this time. So yeah, Vince McMahon is now Voldemort. Anyway, getting back to last night's Raw, I thought it was a damn good show. A lot of good wrestling. I even like the stuff that they're doing with Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. We're going to see either an Indy Hartwell heel turn or we're going to see the team implode. I hope it's an Indy Hartwell heel turn. And I'm hoping that because I like Indy Hartwell when she was a heel. I do like Indy Hartwell as a wrestler. I think she definitely has potential and room to grow, and she's willing to adapt and learn and grow. Um, the Cody Rhodes thing coming out, I will say this, and I was listening to the post wrestling people, or should I call them the woke wrestling people. These guys are the most woke wrestling fans I've ever seen in my life. They mentioned the raining at the end of Raw when they were out there in the rain, and Wei Ting goes, "It was like a scene from The Notebook." I'm like, ugh, come on, really? You're comparing pro wrestling to The Notebook? Probably the biggest chick flick of all time? Ugh. Anyway, um, so Cody Rhodes coming out, having everybody point to their sign. We get some foul language from Cody because they could say a lot more in USA than we can on Raw, or USA than we can on Fox. Ugh. But Cody Rhodes comes out and says that he will beat the final boss. He will conquer. And The Rock's music hit. And the crowd goes crazy. And also we see The Rock coming out, with his new entrance and the old entrance music fading into the Hollywood entrance music. I love it. I like the new entrance music for The Rock. I still think The Rock is full of shit when he says, "Oh, I'm the biggest heel in the business." Yeah, because you're overshadowing the biggest heel in the business. When you say that, it makes the biggest heel in the business, who is your cousin, look like crap. I mean, how crazy is it? Did we ever think that when this started that Roman Reigns was going to be the biggest outcast of this whole thing? Anyway, he comes out, and when Cody came out, I noticed it's not a new entryway. They had to streamline the entryway because they sold so many tickets that they had to minimize the entryway. Hey, Money Mark Snowman Khan, this is how you do a wrestling show in Chicago. The Rock wasn't even advertised to be there, and they had to streamline the set to allow for more seating. Limited view seating at that. You had fans sitting behind the entryway. So, sorry, folks, the GPS is talking to me. So you had, The Rock come out to a huge ovation. It's obvious the crowd wants to cheer this guy, but he's not going to give you any reason to. He's not going to make it easy for you to cheer him because he came out, whispered something in Cody's ear, and left. And then, just from there, the entire show, all the wrestling on the show, the Nakamura versus Sami Zayn, the Candice LeRae versus Ivy Nile. You had, Sami Zayn going up against what was supposed to be Ivar, and then that got changed. And, he ended up taking on Giovanni Vinci. That was good. Ricochet versus JD McDonough was amazing. I'm trying to think here, guys. Sorry, this is what happens when you drive and try to talk at the same time. Just everything on this show was good. And I heard people going, I saw some people go, well, the Cody Rhodes thing was fake blood. No, he gigged. He cut himself. And that's the reason why people go, well, the reason why the camera panned away is because they didn't want you to see the blood capsule. No, the camera panned away because they didn't want you to see the guy slicing his forehead open. When The Rock rubs the paint away, or the blood away, and you can still see blood pouring out of his head, and you can see the open wound, it's not fake. God, that whole ending segment was so good. What a good beatdown. Again, it completely overshadows Roman Reigns because I feel like maybe you should have had Roman Reigns out there fighting with him and maybe getting a couple licks in or holding him for The Rock or something. The only thing that kills me, and I know this is going to sound like a shock coming from me, is the cursing. They're going to bleep you. And I'm sorry, but when they bleep you like that, it just cheapens the whole show. Even in the Attitude Era, we maybe got an S word thrown every now and then. We got the word ass on a constant basis, but that was nothing big. But we never got the F word and the MF word and all that. Not that I'm against cursing on occasion. When it has its place, it makes everything look more real. But at the same time, when it's every other word out of your mouth, it hinders the quality of your show because the show is having to be bleeped so much that you can't hear the crowd reacting at all. Let me see here. What else about last night? The Seth Rollins, the CM Punk stuff. We got to get to the CM Punk stuff. CM Punk doesn't listen to the Pat McAfee podcast or watch the Pat McAfee show. He listens to the drive-through and the experience. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. As a huge Jim Cornette fan, I cannot wait to hear Cornette's reaction. Brian Last already put on Twitter and went, "This is just going to cause him to want to sing more." Go ahead, sing it. I hope he sings the whole damn song because people are going to be wondering what the drive-through and the experience was. And if you don't know, now you know, as they say. Um, you can tell that these three guys, even though they may have some legitimate heat there, you can tell they were having fun out there last night, man. And I'm glad that they found a way for Punk to be on WrestleMania. He's going to be on WrestleMania in a role that is going to be amazing. I love when CM Punk does commentary. It's a good fit. And I love how the crowd started chanting referee, referee, and they were like, "Oh, that's his counting arm," and then he turns around and counts with his left hand, or his left hand. And like he said, there's probably people in the back going crazy after what I'm saying. And he called them dipshits, which got bleeped because they're not going to fire CM Punk for saying the word dipshits. And if anything, I hope this, is the cursing needed? No, not 100% all the time. But at the same time, I hope it encourages these workers to come out of their shell a little bit more and not feel as if, oh, well, such and such has carte blanche, but I don't. How are you going to know if you have carte blanche unless you take that leap? How are you going to know? You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. You got to be willing to break the eggs. So if anybody out there is listening to this who's thinking about promos, not just in WWE, but I mean, you got to learn to break the egg. You got to learn to come out of your shell. You got to learn to not be afraid to piss people off in this industry. You just can't. I mean, it's one thing to be sitting there going, "Oh, I'm just happy to be here and I'm grateful. And at least I'm not flipping hamburgers at McDonald's." Not that there's anything wrong with that. I always say my job. Do I like my job 90% of the time? No, but at least I'm not shoving nuggets in a deep fryer. It could be a lot worse. Again, if you shove nuggets in a deep fryer, you do you, and at least you have a job and are working. But, you know, it's always nice when you don't have to do that. Is all I'm saying. Um, but yeah, Raw last night. That's my thoughts on Raw. Raw was just awesome from beginning to end. Every bit of wrestling, the Nakamura Jey Uso thing, and Jimmy Uso showing up, no yeet, and just him having the crazy eyes look on his face, and Solo sitting there going, "When, Lord, when's gonna be my time?" That's what I get. That's what I get when I look at Solo Sikoa. He's just sitting there waiting for his spot. He's waiting to take his moment. When, Lord, when's gonna be my time? That's what he's looking like. I still think The Rock is playing the double agent role. We are going to get, Cody and Seth are going to lose on night one, whether it be a Seth heel turn or something going wrong with interference wise, something of that nature. But they are going to lose night one. We're going to go into night two with it being bloodline rules, and I think The Rock is going to turn. I mean, who knows? We may even see Roman turn on The Rock in that match after they win and cut a promo going, "I don't need your help. I did never ask for your help. I never asked you to come in here and overshadow me. You acknowledged me, but it's not enough because you're overshadowing me. You call yourself the final boss. I'm the head of the table. I'm the boss. I'm the final boss. I'm the end all be all. I'm the first boss, the last boss. I'm the boss of our family. You acknowledge me. You work for me. whatever, blah, blah, blah. Million ways you could do it. But I still think The Rock comes out of this as a babyface, and we'll get Cody Rhodes versus The Rock down the line. I still think we're going to see Roman Reigns go away for a while and come back as a babyface. I don't know when. I don't know where. Maybe I would say maybe he needs to take a year off, but the man already has about half the year off. He's lucky if he works 20 dates a year. So, you know, there's that factor. Um, but that's my thoughts on Monday Night Raw. I'm going to get off here. We'll see you down the road, folks. Man, what a show. How are they going to top that? How are they going to top last night?